with one of my readings from Misty's Misadventures. We're on chapter 7. Usually I record these, which I set out to do yesterday, and the world did not cooperate with me. So today I'm back and reinforced. But in the interest of time and getting this up today, I thought I'll go live. I go live with this. Why not this? So my little companion, Miss Princess Peach, is here next to me, as she often is when I'm doing these things. And we're going to pull you right into chapter 7 of Misty's Misadventures. And hi, I'm Catherine Taylor. If you don't know me, I'm an author and a video interviewer. And I live in central Newfoundland, Canada. And this book is set in Newfoundland. It's a romantic comedy. And I hope you enjoy it. Let's get going. Here we go. Chapter 7, The Bed of Enticement. I always title my chapters. It's more fun for writing it for some reason. Okay. By Friday night, Misty had wrangled herself an invitation to the wedding of the year, gotten phone service installed, and covered the potluck dinner at the Presbyterian church. With her budget blown on beds, Duff had helped her find some furniture at the secondhand store. And what wasn't available there, he provided. It wasn't perfect by any means, but it was a start. Faunce had given her the key to the yarn office so she could come and go as she pleased, as long as she tracked her time and delivered 3 stories by Tuesday. She had a fair bit of free, which worked fine with her since she was used to working independently. Duff had helped her find some domestic support for the girls, a young woman named Pansy, who was planning to move to Toronto in the fall. Misty hoped she'd changed her mind, as she seemed quite capable and the girls liked her. Misty put the finishing touches on her makeup as the phone rang. She wondered who would be calling on a Friday night. She ignored it, knowing one of her daughters would pick up. "Hey, Mom, it's for you," Vivian hollered up the stairs. Misty closed her lipstick and picked up the extension in her bedroom. "Hello," she said. "What yat?" "Who's this?" "Stinky." Her eyes widened. "Stinky? What yat?" he asked again. What exactly was she at? She wondered. Putting on makeup on a Friday night to watch a movie with the girls? "Oh, nothing," she replied. "Want to go out to the bar for a few beers, By? There's a band in from St. John's." Go out with someone named Stinky? She hesitated, and she who hesitates is lost. "Right on, be by in 5. He hung up and the deal was done. Stinky was coming over. She panicked. What had just happened? "Pansy," she called down the stairs. "I may have a problem." "Your mom's got a date, girls," Pansy said. "I do not have a date," Misty yelled down the stairs. "What I have is an inability to say no fast enough." "Told ya. She's got a date." And Pansy laughed. Misty raced down the stairs. "What do you know about Stinky?" she asked Pansy. "He's on his way over here. I didn't agree to go anywhere with him, but he thinks I did." Her voice had gone up an octave. "Stinky?" Pansy scoffed. "You don't got no worries there, unless she meets up with Skylene." "Skylene? What's Skylene?" "Not what. Who?" "She's his fiancée." "His what?" She was hyperventilating. "Oh, yeah, they've been together now for what, 8 years?" There was a knock on the front door. Misty grabbed Pansy's arm and shoved her toward it. "You get it. Tell him I'm sick. Anything. I don't care. Tell him I'm throwing up." It wasn't far from the truth, she thought as she raced up the stairs, straight into the bedroom. Oh, straight into the bathroom, where she locked the door and sat down in the toilet seat. A few minutes later, a knock sounded on the door. You can come out now. He's gone," said Pansy. "You're certain?" "Look, when I says he's gone, he's gone." Oh, was it any problem? Asked Misty as she cracked the door and looked out. No, bye. I just called Skylene. You called his fiance? Why would you do that? She's going to hate me. Nah, Stinky does this against you, but she'll straighten him out. The phone rang again. You get it this time, Pansy. A few minutes later, Pansy returned with her hand over the phone. She looked at Misty, a hint of mystery in her eyes. It's for you. It's Cedric. Cedric? What's he want? Oh, same thing as Stinky, I'd say. You know, the band's not bad. You should go on up and have a good time. I can stay for a few hours. He's not my type. For one night? Pansy prompted. Not even. Tell him I'm working. Oh, all right, but you're missing a good time. I'll survive. Misty followed Pansy downstairs and eavesdropped on the conversation. Satisfied that Cedric got the right message, whew, she relaxed. Suddenly, the evening loomed before her like a great abyss. What was she going to do? She couldn't spend the rest of her life locked up with her kids. She was only 30 years old after all, and if you believed what you read in Cosmo, her life was just beginning, not ending. At that enlightening thought, she chased Pansy, who had gone into the living room. She desperately wanted her to stay for a while. Not that she was lonely. You could hardly be that with Vivian and Liberty in the house. She was craving grown-up company and probably a friend. It had been a long time since she had indulged in a girls' night. She entered the room and stood quietly, watching her daughters. They had curled up with Pansy in front of the television. Pansy's head of coal-black curls cascaded over her shoulders like a wild bush. She was a very naturally pretty woman. She had luscious curves, where Misty's body was more streamlined and toned. Sitting like that, she looked just like the Earth Mother she'd quickly become in their lives. And she seemed much wiser than her years, even though she was 3 years younger than Misty. Why don't we put on a movie for Liberty and Vivian, Misty said, and maybe you can fill me in on Charlie's Cove. Sometimes I feel lost here. I mean, I grew up in Newfoundland, but you forget what it's like, really. Oh, problem is, you got no real appreciation for outport living. You grew up in town, Misty. This be's different, right? She smiled warmly. It's comfortable when you get used to it, though. Well, maybe. Misty knew she sounded unsure. Getting used to it is the part that takes a bit of adjustment. Give it a few months and you'll be fine. Well, so why are you moving to Toronto? Misty put the movie in the DVD player. The fact it was now attached to an old TV borrowed from Duff seemed to make no difference to Liberty and Vivian. They were content. Oh, I wants a change for a bit. See something different, you know? So you'll be back? Misty beckoned for Pansy to follow her into the kitchen. My dear, we always comes back. Look at yourself. Oh, no, that was a mistake. Misty turned to Pansy, a hint of insistence creeping into her voice. I didn't plan this. This just happened. She took a bag of popcorn from the cupboard and dug for a pot. Oh, yeah, thanks. Oh, your subconscious was working overtime on this. Oh, give me a break. She shut the cupboard door and moved to the stove, where she loaded the pot with kernels and oil and then turned on the burner. Oh, suit yourself, but I'm telling you it happens. Misty shook her head. Oh, you're wrong this time. I'm here to get things back on track, and that's about it. This time next year, all you'll see are my tail feathers heading for the boat. The kernels exploded against the pot cover like a drum roll. Misty looked at Pansy in surprise. I'd say that's a sign I'm right. Or wrong, replied Pansy. The two were quiet as the popcorn cooked. It was hard to talk over the racket. Misty thought about what Pansy had said. There's no way my subconscious could have drawn me back to Newfoundland. Coming back here was simply a matter of coincidence. I needed a refuge, and great old Uncle C provided it. That's all it is. And that's what it is. As far as staying here, I wonder myself sometimes. One minute I'm talking about getting a goat as if we're going to stay, but none of that's congruent with the way I've planned things. Being here is a temporary thing, kind of like putting a band-aid on a cut. Once the healing, it'll be time for us to leave. And that's the truth of it. Unless the band-aid's put there to cover something up. Oh, Misty didn't like where that thought was heading, so she dismissed it before it got a chance to put down some roots. When she removed the pot a few minutes later, Misty had another question for Pansy. Can I ask you something? I hope you won't take offense. Me? Offense? Is it about who I'm sleeping with? Oh, God, no. Misty was impressed by Pansy's quick wit and hoped it was contagious. Oh, it would be handy in dealing with fawns. Oh, well, then you can't offend me. Fire away, Ducky. She passed a bowl for the popcorn. Misty laughed. You're one of a kind, Pansy. Here's what's been on my mind. You're a bright girl. How come you didn't go to university or trade school? Something besides this. Oh, you mean babysitting? Right. Looks like university material, do I? This time, Pansy laughed. Oh, we got enough degrees in my family to pave the way to Oxford. I got cousins all over the country who specializes in depression, cutting off body parts, even picking at teeth. Not one of them's any happier than me. They may have a bit more money, but it's all relative. You know, I got more time. Misty thought about that as she carried the popcorn into the next room and passed the bowl to Liberty. Share with your sister, or else, she added as an afterthought, wondering where in the heck or else had originated. Or else what? I'll strand you on an island in a decrepit old house? Whoops, too late for that. As she left the room, she looked back at Liberty and Vivian. They were engrossed and content. That was the word, content. It wasn't a feeling that came easy to Misty. What have I really gained the past 8 years? Here I am, in the same place as Pansy, with not much to show for all my worldliness, except a lot more debt and a considerable bit more sadness. Ah, glass of wine, she asked Pansy as she walked into the kitchen. Oh, beer if you got it. Misty gathered from the look on Pansy's face that she didn't care much for wine. Well, she had a few bottles of beer, thanks again to Duff, who had used them to entice Cedric to mow her lawn. She took one from the fridge, twisted the top, and passed it to Pansy. What's it like, Pansy? I mean, really, to have time. Oh, come on. You telling me you got no idea? Oh, ask my divorce lawyer. He says he sees it every day. Women with kids, working too much. Husband feels neglected. You get the idea. Misty took a bottle of wine from the fridge, opened it, and poured herself a glass. Oh, that's what happened, was it? He was fooling around and you caught him. Mm-hmm. Even worse, it was with my best friend. Misty sat down opposite Pansy. They getting married? I don't know. I hope not. Geez, that would be messy, wouldn't it? I mean, it's bad enough sharing my children with a man I don't love anymore, but her? Oh, I hate the thought of her influencing my kids. Misty took a sip of Chardonnay. It was a luxury she hadn't indulged in for a while. She had picked up a bottle to celebrate her new job. Sorry I brought it up. I guess it's hard on the head, said Pansy. Misty appreciated her candor. It doesn't matter anyway. I mean, it does, but it doesn't. I'm dealing with it. Misty heard the uncertainty in her own voice. She wasn't going to convince anyone that she was all right with what happened. You takes a lesson or two from Skylene. No man's going to do that to you again. Oh, what's up with that anyway? Stinky and Cedric both giving me a call? New kid in town? Oh, by golly, you needs an outport education some bad. Misty shook her head from side to side and rolled her eyes. The bed, Misty. The bed. So, about a bed. Big deal. Most people sleep on them unless they hang from the rafters, and I've met a few who'd qualify for that. She still felt a bit guilty. Buying the bed had been a decisive point for her, and if she hadn't run into Steve Day at that exact moment, well, she might have made a more rational choice. I shouldn't be held accountable for a hormonal moment, she thought, and it isn't like I've had any opportunity to do anything about it. No, Misty, you're missing the point. You arrives in town one day, and the next day you goes and buys the biggest bed in Charlie's Cove. And then, if that weren't enough, you has Duff and the boys drive it through town in broad daylight. My dear, your social calendar is only warming up. Won't be one male in 50 miles of here wouldn't ask you for a date. With the exception of Fig and Wilford, of course. Oh, come on. Misty waited for Pansy to say something reassuring. She didn't. Suddenly, what Pansy was saying started to make sense, and the immensity of her actions began to sink in. She hadn't bought any old bed. I mean, that's exactly what Tiz had told her, too. Oh, sweet Jesus. She'd sent out a signal stronger than Marconi on a clear night. She, single mom, biologically ripe, totally unattached, fresh as a newborn kipper, had bought the bed of enticement. Knowing full well it was ridiculous, it still didn't stop her from laying blame. Damn you, Steve Day, this is entirely your fault. She was beginning to think that man was a figment of her imagination, like sighting an iceberg off the coast in a blinding fog. Maybe he was never really there. It was no wonder Misty spent a restless night when she finally went to bed. Images of Steve peppered her dreams. She awoke in a sweat several times, expecting to see him in the bed with her, their limbs wrapped together like a couple of twist ties. Finally, driven to the point of insomnia, she realized something. The bed of enticement wasn't an elixir of love. It was a giant trampoline of sexual frustration. By the time the sun cracked through her curtain, she was good and bloody tired of tossing and turning. Her body obviously had other ideas because her nipples were pushing through the sheets like a couple of stanchions. Aye, aye, Captain Steve, prepare to come aboard. They don't call me the first mate for nothing. Voila! End of chapter 7. If you didn't know it, and if I didn't say it, you should know by now, this is a romantic comedy. And hopefully lots of humor in it and strong romantic elements, but there's also a lot of family and there's also a lot of community in the characters and in the rebirth of Misty in finding herself after, bad experience, a bad marriage, some betrayal. And now she's got to pick up those pieces in this new little home where she is. So things are coming together and she's making a few mistakes along the way. So if you haven't heard the chapter prior to this, the bed of enticement was used by the store owner to entice people to come in and buy a bed. It was the big king, the only one in town. And so Misty picked it out because at that moment she'd seen Steve and she thought like, gosh, what am I doing? I don't want to buy like a single bed, a double bed or something. I want that one. I want the big bed. That means maybe I have a future love life. So that's what happened. But the bed of enticement sent out a strong message like Marconi on a clear night. She was maybe available. She was new in town. Maybe she was a hot new piece. So that's kind of fun. And it was fun writing this book when I wrote it. And that's what I wanted to do, have a lot of laughs through the book and try to capture some of the characteristics of Newfoundland and the people. And I think, my accents, the accent's going all to heck these days. I'm going to have to work on that. I'm trying to pick it up and put it in. How do you read books? You can give me some feedback if you like. You prefer me not to read it with the accent, but that's not going to happen. But you can give me your opinion anyway. Let me know if you're enjoying this. And that's about it. I think I'm going to sign off and move on to other things in my day. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoy it. If you enjoyed it enough, you can go back to chapters 1 to 6 prior to this. Have a great day. And if you also want to check out more things I'm doing, catherinetaylor.ca is my webpage, and I'm active on Catherine Taylor Media on Facebook with lots of lives, and also on YouTube, Catherine Taylor TV. And there's a variety of things on there, shows that I do. Let's Get Writing, wonderful guests, wonderful authors, something for everyone on there, and as well as some tips about going live. Those are available, and I'm on Instagram as well as Catherine Mousseau. That's the French part of my name that's hard to spell, and I don't use it often. But I'll leave some links below and make it easy for you to track me down if you so wish. Anyway, would love feedback. Thanks for tuning in, if and when you do, and have a great day. And keep thinking about Misty. She needs your support. Bye now.